Good evening, everyone. We've made it to mid-September. Today is Friday the 13th, and as luck would have it, the day started out really cold, rainy, and with harvest still at a standstill. However, there's some good news as well, as much of the eastern part of our region received some light overnight frost this week. We're seeing a lot of fields with light foliar damage, although in some pockets, the entire upper canopy has been discolored. Fortunately for us, we haven't found any areas where the ear shanks were completely frozen through, which would have signified an end to the growing season. This afternoon, the weather's turned around and the forecast is absolutely beautiful, and we're definitely going to need that to help mature these grain corn crops. At this point in the season, it's all about starch deposition in the ears, which is what we've been working towards throughout the entire summer. If you recall, many of the grain corn fields were silking in that first week of August, and that means at this point, we'd be expecting them to be at late dent to about half milk line. In this particular PKP near Cleveland, Manitoba, early varieties, including P7417 Acre Max, are right around that half milk line, while some of the later varieties, including P7861 Acre Max and P7940 Acre Max, are really just starting to show that milk line in the kernels. This means that we're basically going to need another 2 weeks of really nice weather to mature that grain corn and bring it to maturity. And then we can sleep easier at night, knowing that the frost won't be a big problem. Next, we'll take a quick look at where the silage corn is at. One question that we get asked every fall is whether or not BT genetics are worth it in a cornfield which will be harvested for silage. It's certainly true that we'll see less ear drop at silage timing than in the grain corn fields, which will be standing out in the field for at least another month as they wait to dry down. However, there's also hidden yield loss in non-BT silage fields, as those ears will be smaller when there's an infestation of corn borer, and that's because the plant is struggling to move the required nutrients through damaged stem, ear shank, and cob tissue to the kernels where it's needed. This is a great time of year to go out and scout your fields, especially if they're non-BT, for damage, and consider harvesting the most damaged fields first. It's also one of the reasons why many of the new hybrids, including P8407 Acre Max, are going to be coming out as BT products. Silage harvest did start in a couple of fields earlier this week, with silage coming off right around 70% moisture. John McCullough and I went out and did a lot of samples in 80 to 85 CRM products yesterday, and we found moistures that were anywhere from 71 to 78%, so there's no massive rush yet. There's going to be a big push for silage later next week as these fields dry up and will be closer to that half to 2/3 milk line. Some of the later products, including 9188 Acre Max and 9330 Acre Max, and especially in plots like this where there's really good plant health remaining, we're going to wait at least another 2 weeks before it's ready for silage. Next, we'll take a look at soybeans and see how far away we are from harvest. Unlike corn, reproductive development in our determined soybean varieties is driven almost exclusively by calendar date, so it's not surprising that we've quickly seen mid-maturing soybeans turn and drop their leaves over the last week, as they've reached that R8 stage where the seed is starting to disconnect inside of the pod and it's almost ready for harvest. The only fields that are staying green at this point are the ones that had quite a bit more stress earlier on in the season, are on peak ground or have other residual nitrogen sources that are keeping the plants green, or some of the later varieties like P00A49X. Basically, anything above about 2,500 crop heat units is still going to need about another week before it reaches physiological maturity. With hot, dry weather in the forecast, it's going to be important to be ready to go as soon as field conditions allow, as ideal harvest moisture is about 14%. This is great for long-term storage and maximizing your yield. Thanks again for watching our weekly video updates. We hope that everyone has a wonderful sunny weekend to enjoy and a safe harvest as well.